Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, Alberta Wheat Commission, and C&M Seeds.
Derksen, plant pathologist with Manitoba Agriculture, to talk about stripe rust in wheat in Western Canada. And Holly, we have seen this year there was some stripe rust that overwintered in Alberta, but in general, stripe rust comes north from migrates on the wind from the U.S.
Yeah. So although there were reports in Alberta early, that's not generally where we get our inoculum from. So yes, interesting that it potentially overwintered there, but we're more looking at the southern states and how it blows up from the southern states. So there have been reports coming all season long, basically up to this point, and now it's gotten to the point where it's been reported in North Dakota up to the Canadian border. So the stripe rust inoculum is on our in our backyard, if not in Manitoba already. I haven't had any reports from Manitoba at this point, so it remains to be seen if it becomes an issue for our cereal growers. Winter wheat, probably getting close to the stage where it's being sprayed with a fungicide at that early flower timing for Fusarium head blight. So a fungicide is pretty good at controlling stripe rust. If they're going in anyways for Fusarium, chances are if they haven't seen stripe rust up to that point, we aren't going to see it now. Spring wheat, obviously, we're further away from that fungicide timing or even a flag leaf timing. So there is some potential if we start to see it in spring wheat that it could become an issue. The main places to look for it obviously are if you're growing a variety that doesn't have a good resistance rating to stripe rust. Typically in Manitoba, the places we see it are on unsprayed acres. So for us, that usually means our McVet trials because most everything gets sprayed. And normally it only shows up later in the year, so not a huge impact to yield. So it is a bit early maybe this year than what we normally see for a stripe rust invasion, but it still remains to be seen if it could be an issue here. And
you're basing that on observations in the U.S., USDA information that's available online?
Yeah, exactly. So there's these cereal rust bulletins. You can sign up to be part of their email blast, basically, and they let you know whenever a report comes in from anywhere in the U.S. Or if you just go to the USDA website, they put up weekly maps to show where it's all been detected so far. So it's definitely important information. So if a grower is seeing it in Manitoba, to let me know, and then we can put our information into the USDA's website as well, and they put us on their map as well.
When you're diagnosing stripe rust, what's the basics to look for?
Right. So obviously, like any leaf disease, we're more concerned if it's showing up on the flag leaf. That's our main yield determiner in our wheat. It is a yellower rust than the other rust. However, if you don't have the other rust to compare to, it's not always easy to tell the difference. We control all the rust the same way, so not a big deal if you can tell the difference. Stripe rust, obviously the pustules show up in stripes parallel with the leaf veins. If you were to look under a microscope at the pustules, it would actually kind of look like the bottom of an egg carton. They're quite straight lines across from one another. And again, it's a little bit more yellow, but again, not a big deal if it's leaf rust, stem rust, stripe rust. You're treating it all the same way with a fungicide. So,
Is there a point in the growing season by when the crop has advanced far enough that you don't need to worry about stripe rust impacting yield? Yeah,
so generally for any of our leaf diseases, really anything beyond that flowering timing isn't really going to warrant a fungicide application. So that last timing you should be going in is at that FHB timing. You're protecting your flag leaf as well as your head at that stage. Past that, unless it's a really, really severe infection, which chances are it won't be if you haven't seen it up to that point, then you're not going to see as much of a real yield reduction, and definitely not enough to warrant fungicide application.